proof that Iris flew. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere, half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. Oh yeah, no one else. This case isn't going to end without a fight. Exposing the obvious contradiction in this testimony will be easy. But I fear that all that awaits us are further mysteries. Okay, so it's clearly going to be about the sphere. When I reached Dusky Bridge, she was already gone. I was so worried, so I frantically searched all over for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in the snow. I'm sure that Iris was simply wearing a spare hood. After all, no one else could have lost a crystal sphere that night. Now the question is, do we present the victim's staff, being like, ha ha ha, there should be a sphere here, or do we present, where is it? The photo of Elise, which, as we can see here, has a crystal sphere. A magic bottle. Wonder if that's relevant. I never took that in, really. I was just wondering if that's relevant at all. But yeah, the crystal sphere is right there. It's like, I don't even feel like we need to press anything here. It's like it's... No one else could have lost a crystal sphere. Like... Larry, that night, there was someone. Someone who lost a crystal sphere. There was? Who? Who was this stupid idiot? Miss Elise Duanim, the mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere. Hey, that's my photograph. Give it back. Oh, ouch. A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch. Do you? You look nothing alike. Thank you, Edgewell. In any case, please take a look at this. This is the victim's staff found at the scene of the crime. Oh, could I have presented the staff then? I thought it was going to go with the logic of, like, the judge would be like, I don't see how this is connected, blah, 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 blah. They'd be like, oh, I have to do the photograph. Apparently this time I could have done that. Maybe. Someone let me know. Ah, the crystal sphere. It's gone. What? 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 Just what does this mean? If anyone jumped or flew across that bridge that night, it certainly was not Iris. After all, she was not wearing her hood. And more importantly, I'm very suspicious of this picture though. Like, is it just drawn wrong? Because it's like, to me, there's certain elements of it are just wrong. Like, it's... Have we got a photo of Dusky Bridge anywhere? Crime photo, tracks photo. I don't think we have. Because, like, how I remember the bridge, there's two elements to this that are just wrong. It's the sort of... I mean, the line... We'll go with the easy one. The lines coming to it, like the actual suspension of it, you wouldn't suspend them to the top of the bridge. And they weren't. I remember them being attached to the bottom. Secondly, the sort of like V-shaped pattern that's going on across the bridge, that's not how I remember the bridge being. I remember it being vertical lines, so it should be a squarish pattern going across. Because it was a squarish pattern with other lines going across that were tiny, like tiny wires, like sure, like Butts wouldn't have seen these tiny wires from that distance, especially with it being ablaze, that sort of thing. So it's that case of he would have drawn squares, not triangles. So it's like there's two things I feel like are wrong there with that picture, and I wonder if it's going to be relevant or it's just interpretive art, you know, that sort of thing. The crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either. That means the one who flew and dropped the sphere was the victim. Mr. Lee's doing him. A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. I thought it was quite good, other than, like, you know, a few fatal flaws of it, I suppose. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. Maybe she's not... I'm tilting my head in case you're wondering. What if she's not flying, she's falling? Like, what if I'm trying to like interpret in my head what I'm thinking. It's like, what if the picture is upside down and she's falling off the bridge? But the only thing is, it's like, because clearly she's on fire. Unless she's not on fire, it's just the glow from the bridge. So I was thinking, like, maybe it was like someone on fire falling from the bridge. Because they did say, like, bodies aren't discovered if they fall into Eagle River. It's very rare if they are. Nick was probably an exception. Dahlia got lucky. All these types of things. No. Wait. Where did Dahlia fall again? She did fall into the river, didn't she? So if it was upside down, yeah, like, people cannot fly. Yeah. So if we're... yeah. This is the thing. Now I'm thinking back to the previous Ace Attorney that we played with the whole clown case. Because Von Karma did mention it. Like, there are ways. And people cannot fly, but they can use wires. So maybe it's someone underneath or above. If it's underneath, I'd say they're falling off and they're on fire, or the glow of the fire is making them glow. Or because the bridge is on fire, that's a method to hide the fact the killing happened. It's like trying to like piece together like things in my head. So right, okay. I got one idea that like the picture's upside down and it's someone falling off. That's covered. I've sorted that. So the second idea is basically the killing happened at the inner temple. They needed to somehow get the body back over to the main temple. I can't remember what it's called now. Like, let's get the map. Let's get the map up, 'cause that'll help me. There, right. So, what's the blue dot? Kind of weird. Didn't expect that to be there. So, right, so yeah, the murder happened on the right, at the inner temple. They needed to get the body back across, but make it look like no one could cross the bridge. Like, no one could absolutely cross the bridge at all. So they set the bridge on fire, but they still needed to get the body back across. So they ziplined it. What they did with the wire after that, I don't know. That may explain the missing wire? Maybe that's down in the river? But it is very much like they needed to get it back to Hazakura Temple. And if it's at Hazakura Temple, no one at the inner temple could be blamed. But then the question becomes like, okay, who killed her at the inner temple with that kind of logic? And it's Maya and Pearl's there. Is there anyone else there? Ooh. What if What if Maya was channeling Dahlia? I think there's something there, but I don't know which logic it's gonna be. Because again, it all comes back to this: people cannot fly. I agree. So what's going on here? There's only two ways that can be rectified. Is like someone's falling and it's upside down, or someone's ziplining across. And the glow of the fire in both of those scenarios is making them look like they're on fire. Or they could just be on fire and they fell off the bridge. I don't know. But again, if it's not Elise, Then who the hell is it? Right, anyway, there's my weird logical brain nonsense going on. You can't do that, I saw it. And this crystal sphere, this is nothing more than a red herring. No, it's an amethyst. It's not a fish. Do you think it's a fish egg? You honestly believe that? Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Durnim was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, the sphere cannot be related to this case, and that is all.
Objection!
Miss Franziska von Karma. The only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns. Why are you pointing at me? The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of the murder. Yet you expect us to believe this has nothing to do with the case?
Objection!
That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder? There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? Yeah? This naturally suggests that it was thrown away after the murder took place. The killer placed it there to throw the investigation off the scent, which is the exact same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch. What? You mean I'm the killer? No! All joking aside, just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Yeah. That's what I'd like to know. Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe this is related to the case. She makes a valid point. There is no evidence that Elise Durnim left Hazakura Temple that night. Yeah, this is why it's like, if it's not Elise in the bridge sketch, who the hell is it? However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Yeah, like, it's very much until this point, it's been very, very simple. And I was waiting for, like, the drop of, like, something to be like, no, actually, something bigger is going on. It's like, yeah, it's very Ace Attorney. And this is gonna be it. Your response, Mr. Edgeworth. I want your final opinion on the disposition. Yep, disposition, not disposition. Disposition of this crystal sphere. If it is not related to the case, then this witness who you call will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time. Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal sphere was dropped before the murder took place? Can I? Well, the only thing I can think of it... Well, I've got the sphere, like with no crystal, at the murder scene. If it was dropped there, I like that they placed it on it though. I need a picture of her staff. Like there's nothing there. Well, that does it really, doesn't it? The found half covered in snow near Dusky Bridge, so it would have to be before because of the weather report. But how do we proceed with that logic? Because we've got that shows like it's missing. And it was at the murder scene. Like, we know that because we were there, we picked it up. We spoke about it. I remember the wizard aspect from Gumshoe, you know. But it's not in this picture. Let's see what they ask. But I feel like I can. I just need to see what they ask. Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it, That's the only option. That's what he'd do. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere has a vital link to solving this case. You will do what? That look in your eyes. You remind me of Phoenix Wright when he is cornered. That should come as no surprise. Because right now I am Phoenix Wright, and I am indeed cornered. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed dropped for the murder. Well, the only thing I can think of at the moment is like the crime scene photo. Like we got it right there, and there's nothing there. We got the victim's staff itself is missing the crystal. The crystal sphere itself, I could mention it's covered in snow and then go with the weather report again, but like that was at the scene. It's like that to me is like the biggest one, so.
Take that!
Your response, Miss Von Karma. Birds of a feather flock together. Are you familiar with this phrase? Miles Edgeworth? I think one such bird is calling for its fellow now. Go, go, Edgy. Do it. Prove it. Win, win, win. He's cheering. It's as though I'm listening to the ominous calls of a raven. What? So, Mr. Edgeworth, what will you do from here? One more chance, Your Honor. I can't turn back after coming all this way. Time in the murder and when the crystal sphere was dropped. Okay, it's alright, we'll go with the crystal sphere in the snow. Need to find proof that the latter happened first. I order you to present your evidence, Mr. Edgeworth. Although, think about it, like, no, my logic is sound, I'm just being an idiot. Like, that makes sense, I can't prove it with the evidence here alone, can I? They'll be like, oh yeah, it was definitely there, but like, well, we can only take your word for that, and that's anecdotal, and it's not a testimony, and all that type of stuff, you know. So it's just going to be that case of, like, I should point out, like, it's covered in snow here, so I could present the crime photo, thinking about it. So it's like, this is half covered in snow. No. And she's not covered in snow there, so she must have... Like, we already established where the snow was and all that type of stuff, and what was covered in snow and all that type of stuff. So if we point out, like, well, it's covered in snow, which means it was at one point before the murder, because she's not covered in snow, as we've pursued previously. I just didn't think they were going to go with the exact same logic. I really thought they were going to go with, like, the staff was there, it was missing the crystal sphere. Although that doesn't prove it was dropped before, does it? It just proved that it was dropped. Yeah, it's me being a massive idiot on that point.
Take that!
Oh. This crystal sphere is half buried in the snow, correct? That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, then it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it. That's all I need to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear. What? When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly. Snowing? On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there is no snow on the victim's body. Yeah, I didn't think they were going to go with the exact same logic. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. What? Still me being an idiot, though, in that. It really was. Order! Order! On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge. And there, something occurred that caused the staff's crystal sphere to come loose. What? What could that have been? The sphere. There is some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge. I don't think so. How my mind's piecing everything together at the moment, it's very much this case of, on the night of the murder, Elise left with pearls from Harasakura Temple, down the bridge, well, down the road to the bridge, across the bridge to the inner temple. Like, maybe she was going to explain to Maya that, like, she was actually her mother and all that type of stuff, going to speak to her and be like, hey, sorry, I've gone missing. Hello, that sort of thing. And then something happened there. I don't know what. And it could, this is the thing. If I'm right on this logic, right, so, right, we'll go through it step by step. This is the only best way I can, like do where my logic is going. So, right, Elise and Pearls left Hazakura Temple, say, like, 2 hours before the murder. Something like that. Went all the way down the road, across Dusky Bridge, to the inner temple. They spoke to Maya. That's all fine. Then somehow she got murdered in the inner temple. But this was part of a plan from someone, and she was taken back across the bridge. You know, she was somehow taken back across the bridge, like with a zip line, which would explain why to Larry, but looks like she was flying, because she was being carried across. She was already dead. When it was on that side, whoever, like on the Heavenly Hall side, whoever did the murder put her on a snowmobile. Alright. So, yeah, put her on the snowmobile, and like, by doing that, that caused the, sphere to be dropped, like, it broke or something like that. As they were driving back... no, that doesn't fit. Because I'm trying to put into the logic of this. When it snowed and stuff like that. Because like, there's got to be a point where... there's got to be a point where it's like the snow had fallen. Oh, don't know. Maybe they were trying to put the, like, the body back on the snow... no, not back on, but put the body onto the snowmobile. When they were doing that, it dropped off, and it was still snowing at this point. Still snowing. So it snowed on the sphere. Then they drove off, so it left a layer of snow. How lightly, it doesn't matter, but there was some on it itself, and then it, like, froze, that sort of thing. Then they drove back, which, like, left a trail all the way back to Hazakura Temple. Then they staged the scene there, which then resulted in somehow Iris spotting it and trying to pull out the sword? But the question is, in all of this, like, that actually does make sense of all the evidence we've got so far, apart from one detail. And that's, who did the killing at the inner temple in that case? My money in my head is on Dahlia, but as Bikini. That Bikini was channeling Dahlia. But in order for all that to take place, like, there's that case of, like... Like, for that to work, for the idea of burning the bridge to hide the fact, like, the killing happened there and all that type of stuff, and, like, it would be impossible for that to take place or something like that. Like, it feels like there should be, like, one person on the inner temple and one person that has a Hazakura Temple, and they're both working together on the murder. Maybe there's two people in on it. Unless Dahlia's willpower is so strong, she took control of someone at the inner temple and killed her, and then somehow took control of someone else that has a Hazakura Temple and did the other side of the river. There's something there, and it all comes down to Larry Butts again, with his picture. That's so significant, and because that's where Pearls is going to be. She's going to be at the inner temple, which does mean Elise went to the inner temple. That's why we can't find her. I need more evidence. I need more information about what happened with these events, but I feel like there's something there, right? If that made any sense to anyone. I don't know. But anyway, the real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge. I don't feel it was, but near it. The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. And your fool suggests such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness. Just who is the fool? Which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma? Have you been playing and paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? My brain's fired up. It's like I can't read properly at the moment. Got all these ideas bouncing around in my head. I love this case. The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. That's not exactly true now, is it? No, he saw her pulling out the sword. To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body. That's the same thing. No, it's not. You said it yourself. Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed. Thus, there was no bleeding. You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Lisa Duinim's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot, it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. You mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way? No. I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove that my version of events is also perfectly plausible. See, my version of events connects to this. And the fact my version of events connects to this is that's what's leading me to believe, there's something there. Now, if the defense is ready, the court would like to have an explanation. Please show us the method by which the victim's body was carried to Hazakura Temple. Well, it's gotta be the tracks, right? Because that'll prove the snowmobile was used. Right? On that snowy night, there is one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could have also been used to carry a body. Oh, a body, This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You dug yourself into your own grave. What do you mean? The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She was the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin? That's a point, yeah. She has the keys. You're too late, Franziska Von Karma. And in fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We have shown that this case requires further investigation. Yeah, like I said, I need more evidence. What? Where was the victim Elise Duinim really killed? If her body was moved, whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean? Yeah, this is the thing that, what is going on? Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never see the truth, let alone describe it. This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point. Echi, thank you. That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances. Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It's just as I thought. Franziska von Karma, you make a wonderful partner. Excuse me? There was one reason and one alone for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case and then pass it on to Wright. Really? That's what this was all about? You could have just told me that from the very beginning. I wouldn't have had Franzi whip it. Oh! Miles Edgeworth. I don't care about what you were here to do. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel. A shame that your chance seems to have slipped you by. What a shame. This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. You are an affront. Oh my. I demand satisfaction. Is she gone? I cannot believe that the witness's testimony relates to an actual event. However, there has to be some sort of answers for the questions it raises. Have his words here today been the truth or lies? Next time we gather in this courtroom, those are the matters that shall be addressed. I am counting on thorough investigations by both the defense and the prosecution. And with this, the rest is up to you, Wright. Court is now adjourned. To be continued.